Today's guest is a very familiar face to fans of TV and film. Dean Norris is celebrated for his portrayal of DEA agent Hank Schrader on Breaking Bad, widely regarded as one of the best TV shows of all time. Dean has been a Hollywood fixture for more than 30 years. His credits include Law and Order, Organized Crime, Total Recall, Little Miss Sunshine, and the upcoming season of Ghosts on CBS. On top of all that, Dean owns the wildly popular Swing Inn Cafe and BBQ in Old Town Temecula. When he's not busy on set, you can find him there entertaining visitors and serving his popular Shraderbräu beer. Dean, welcome to California Now.
Hey, thanks for having me. I look forward to it.
So, you are incredibly in demand as an actor. I mean, juggling roles in a lot of different film and TV projects. Tell us what you're working on these days.
I'm I'm a regular on Law and Order Organized Crime this season. I joined them last season, and we're doing another season this fall right now. So I'm going back and forth from New York to Temecula, and that'll last through December, and then we'll see if they pick it up again. Meanwhile, I've got 3 movies in the can that are coming out in the next month, or in December, I should say. 2 in December and 1 in the following March. So, but pretty busy.
Very busy, and I'm a big fan of Law and Order Organized Crime, as well as I'm really excited about the new season of Ghosts. What can you tell us about your role on that show?
I'm the father of the main girl.
Oh, okay,
So,
all right.
yeah, so he kind of comes back into her life, and the first episode we did was really, really touching. I thought so, at least in the ending of it. So it's a good group to be with, and they want me back for some more. And we're trying to fit it in with the time with the Law and Order, but hopefully we work that out. So
Yeah, yeah. Any big surprises in store for the season that you can kind of hint at least?
no.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. And of course, Hank Schrader and Breaking Bad casts a long shadow. I mean, is that the role that people typically reference when they stop you on the street? Is that the one, the go-to?
Yeah, most likely. Believe it or not, a lot of people were into a show I did called Claws
Oh, yeah, I
for
remember that
4
show.
seasons. And then a few people still coming to me from Under the Dome, which when it was
Oh,
out, Under the
wow.
Dome was one of the biggest CBS shows that they had.
Right,
It
right.
only lasted 3 years, but it had a real rocket to the top kind of start. So a lot of
Oh,
people
yeah.
still.
I mean, do you still connect with any Breaking Bad cast members?
Oh yeah, we're all pretty good, pretty well in touch with each other. I see some of them at different events. We introduced the SAG Award for Best Drama, I think, this year. So we all got together and had a big dinner afterwards, and we have a pretty close knit group.
Yeah, I would
Brian
imagine.
Cranston's been out to my restaurant in Temecula,
Nice.
and everybody else is promising to come at some point. So
That's so cool. I mean, you were in not one, but 2 films with former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. What was that like? I mean, do you have any good stories you can share with us?
it was fascinating. um, this was the Total Recall back in the first one. It was only my second movie. Excuse me. It was only my second movie, and it was like I'm working with the #1 guy in the world, which was just amazing to be in the same space. And I remember we went out. There were a couple interesting things. We went out, and it was filmed in Mexico City, the entire thing. And then this is back in the day when it took 6 months to make a movie. So I was down there a lot, which I enjoyed it. And I remember one time we had dinner, and it's kind of this Mexican macho thing, but these guys would kind of walk around with like this box that they could generate electricity with, and then they had these cords with these metal things that you hold on to. So we were at kind of a round table, and everyone kind of holds on to these things, and the guy starts cranking up the electricity to see how long he can
Oh
hold
my
on. I mean,
God.
it was ridiculous, but I was like, I want to beat Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Did
and
you?
I didn't.
Oh, you did
Yeah,
not. Oh,
he's
well.
got a lot more body mass, and I was like, this, I'm done.
That's
Anyway, I
hilarious.
thought it was interesting that, and he was like at the height of his. Oh, another great thing I remember. He loves to smoke cigars, and he was so cool that when the camera was here on his close up, he would literally, and because I'd be there across from him, he'd have a cigar down here while the camera was going. It was awesome. I was like,
That's
what a
hilarious.
stud.
Right. Like the cigar had nothing to do with the movie. He just had it. He
No,
was so
he
good. He
just
could,
had it
yeah, that's
blown in
hilarious.
action, and he would just hold it right there and do his close up.
That's so
Look
funny.
who's talking, and then popped it right back in,
Right.
So
Then it's cut and then it's back with the cigar.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it
that's
was
great.
awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about one of your other professional passions, the Swing Inn Cafe and BBQ in
Yeah,
Temecula. You bought it 2 years ago, right? So how did that
yes.
happen?
Well, I had actually bought another. I wanted to have some investments in my local community. I've lived out here for 23 years, and I actually bought another lot that I was going to turn into a restaurant. And then this swinging came available, and it hasn't been available for 50 years. The family that owned it last owned it for 50 years. It's
Mm,
been around since 1927.
wow.
So my kids have gone through there through the booths and having pancakes when they were little and everything. So it's an iconic place. I've known it, and I was like, oh man, that would be awesome. The opportunity to own it came up, and I was able to. I had to convince the owner that I wouldn't change much at the breakfast because and I didn't, and I haven't, and I did that for a reason because I know what it meant to the city of Temecula. It used to be their city hall before there was a city hall. They would meet
Oh,
in the
cool.
restaurant,
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
shake hands. All the contractors would meet there in the morning. Hey, I need a pool over here. This is before the city was really kicking. So anyway, I told him, yeah, I would respect the iconicness of it. In fact, that's why I'm buying. I didn't want someone to buy it and turn it into an IHOP or turn it into some apartments or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a very famous sign in the city, and I also knew that I could move it from just being a diner, which was breakfast and lunch, and add a dinner. And that was the big business decision we made, and it's worked out great. And that's when we added the barbecue, because we need some kind of dinner that would fit the ambiance of an old '50s diner. Um, and barbecue just hit it, and I found a great pit master who makes just like really legendary stuff. I mean, we have people from Texas that come in and are like, this is legit. So it's worked out great, and it's growing and growing. And we're actually going to open another restaurant of a different sort
Hmm.
on the same street in Temecula in the next year and a half. So
Wow, that's really great. I mean, and as you said, since you took over, the place has really become a destination known for barbecue. It's not just the
yeah,
diner that it's been all these decades. So, what was your
right.
inspiration for adding that element to the cafe? Was it like a something that you love making yourself? Is it kind of like something a food that you just love to have, or was it really just something that the town was missing?
It's a little bit of all that. It's definitely a food that I love myself. Um, and I knew that there was no really good barbecue around. And the key was finding my pitmaster, who just really is passionate about what he does, and he wasn't happy where he was, and we had talked for a while, and he came over, and it's just been great. I've had a picture of the place. It's imagine a '50s diner. In fact, the booths are kind of tight because people were smaller back in the '70s. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and the stools are a little lower. And, they typically would have had like spaghetti or meatloaf or homey kind of that kind of food. And that just
Right.
didn't fit for what I wanted to do. And at night, this town, Old Town, becomes very, very kind of hip and popular. There's other bars and stuff like that. So I needed something that would not be, kind of a homey thing, but also fit in the ambiance of a kind of a diner kind of place. And barbecue just worked perfectly. So. Oh, baby, where there's smoke, there's fire. Yes, indeed. Come on down to Swing In for the best barbecue in Southern California.
What would you say your most popular barbecue menu item is?
Probably our brisket because it's a 25-hour cook. I mean, they cook it
Wow.
for 13 some hours, then it has to rest, and it's a really valuable piece of meat. We start with really prime brisket, and I mean, it slices like butter, and it's very tasty. And not many people will do that right. A lot of the chains don't do it because they're not going to put that kind of time in to do
Hmm.
a meat. So we also have great spare ribs and sausage, and I have a new sausage that we're going to make that's going to be my own special recipe coming up.
Nice.
Burnt ends and pulled pork and all that stuff's great. But really,
Wow.
I think our brisket is what makes us stand out because, like I said, you can't get that a lot of chains. And if you do, it's definitely not going to be this level of brisket.
Right, right. Would you say that's your favorite thing on the menu, or is there something else that stands out to you as your favorite?
That's probably my favorite in the barbecue, and then quite honest, in the breakfast, I'm like we have the best pancakes in the world, and we
Nice.
have our eggs from a local farm, and I'm telling you, they're like they taste great. So give me a pancake with an egg over easy on top of it, and I'm happy.
That's great. Great. Maybe you can throw in some brisket from the night before.
Hey, there you go.
Now, I also hear there's a Breaking Bad themed cocktail on the menu. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
There is. We have the Heisenberg. And we make it with Aaron Paul and Brian Cranston's mezcal. Excuse me, mezcal. Dos
Oh,
Hombres,
oh, nice.
and it's a blue color, but it tastes sort of like a mezcal margarita ish. And then we serve it with a stick of rock candy, blue rock candy.
Oh, that's
So
funny.
that goes in it. Yeah. So people love to get that drink. And of course,
Uh,
we have my beer,
right.
Schraderbräu.
Ah, Shraderbräu.
Yeah.
That's so great. Yeah, that's like a real life embodiment of the beer from the show, right? That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Hank Schrader in the show was a home brewer, and he called it Schraderbräu, rhyming with Lowenbrow because we use the here's to good friends, the night is kind of special, that Lowenbrow, um, that song, and he hummed that song while he was doing it. Anyway, approached Sony and said, "Hey, let's make this and see if we can sell it as and we made it to be a good beer, not just a novelty beer,
Yeah, yeah,
and it
yeah,
stuck
yeah.
around.
Is it? Is it like an ale? Is it how
It's
would
a
you describe it?
Marzen style lager. It's a Marzen, so it's kind of like you would imagine it as like kind of an Oktoberfest beer, but we don't call it that because we want to see because we sell it year round, and
Yeah.
it's really people love it. It goes great with barbecue, just
I was about to say,
coincidentally.
yeah, like what does it pair best with? Like the brisket
Yeah,
or
coincidentally, it just happens to really pair well with meats. So it goes well with that brisket and the ribs. So it's good.
that's so cool. And the Schrader Brown, you kind of mentioned it, isn't only the isn't the only Breaking Bad themed merch you have going on. Tell us about this Rocket Fizz.
Yeah, I have the license for doing Breaking Bad sodas and candy. So we have a Heisenberg soda, which is a blue soda. Obviously, we have a Los Pollos Hermanos horchata soda, and we have a Hank Schrader. It's an orange, kind of an orange soda. And yeah, we sell that through Rocket Fizz, and then a lot of people, other independent kind of candy novelty stores also purchase it. So it's at other places. Back to the candy store in Temecula that has it. And then we also have candy. We have the Blue Rock candy, and we have these little Los Pollos Hermanos gummies. So it's just kind of another side little thing that we put together.
That's really cool. It sounds like this is like the perfect place for any Breaking Bad fan to like this is kind of like a pilgrimage site. I mean, it's just like sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, and we'll have more stuff there. We got our Hank Schraderbräu t-shirts and we have some other stuff from the show that we saw there. So yeah, a lot of people love coming in and checking it out, and then they leave with a t-shirt or something like that. So
For people who don't know, like kind of situate where Temecula is in California. Like what's it near?
one of the reasons I moved here is it's kind of its own town. Now it's in between Los Angeles and San Diego. It's a little bit closer to San Diego, but about 45 minutes to San Diego, about an hour and 20 minutes or so to LA, depending on what part of LA. And it's inland about maybe 10 miles from the ocean. It is very well known it's getting more and more known for its wineries. We have, I don't know, 50, 60, and I think they have another 30 or 40 slotted over the next decade.
Wow.
So people come out here. It's a great weekend getaway. It's hard to get hotel rooms. They're building several new hotels, but a lot of the wineries have great hotel rooms. They have spas. It's great golfing. You come out, you got a spa, you go wine tasting. If you want to golf, you golf for the day, and then inevitably you come to the Old Town of Temecula, which is where the Swing Inn is. It's about 6, 7 blocks of restaurants and antique shops and retail, novelty retail stuff. There's a cigar shop, all kinds of cute stuff. And you walk along that old town, and it's very westerny, and there's an old bank that was there, and they tell you can learn how when a robbery occurred, and it's it's an old town. I got some great pictures of the swing in back with, horses in front of it and things like that. So that's really, and it just grown. When I first moved out here 23 years ago, nobody knew where it was.
Yeah.
And I remember at some point, I had a niece who at the time was 25 years old, and she was very hip and cool and living with her boyfriend in Marina Del Rey, And they're like, "Oh yeah, we're going out to Temecula. It's so cool. Everyone's going out there now." I'm like, "Oh really? When did that happen?" So it became this kind of cool place for hipsters to come out, spend a weekend, enjoy wine and just a beautiful area. I mean, it's very Mediterranean looking out here, so it's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
It's like you're in the south of France or something like that.
Right, right, right. And obviously you clearly love it there. I mean, you've lived there for more than 20 years. Let's go a little deep on Temecula. So how did you
Yeah.
end up there?
I'll tell you, I just gotten married and I had a house in Hollywood Hills, and the job was shooting in Rosarito, Mexico. It was Tremors, the TV show. This is 23 years ago. So I would drive down. I just had a baby, and I'd drive down like late. If I was going to work on a Monday, I'd drive down late Saturday night or Sunday, cruise through the border, and then it was right after 9/11. So coming back over the border, it took me like 4 hours. Had the show going on, we would have tried to get some passes and stuff, but we didn't know. So it'd be like a 4 hour wait trying to cross back in the United States. And then when I did that, I got through San Diego and I stopped at this town, Temecula, and to get some gas, get some coffee on my way home. And I was like, man, this is a cool little town. I just started liking it and kept stopping by and started bringing my wife out. And we knew we wanted to move out of the Hollywood Hills. It was great when you were a bachelor, but it wasn't great to have a kind of family. And, I didn't really know my neighbors or anything like that, whereas here I know all my neighbors.
Yeah.
And we looked up north a little bit like Ventura and Ojai, but we ultimately settled on Temecula and really glad we did because it was good to get here early, and it's grown up around us, and we just enjoyed being part of it.
That's great. So what are some of your favorite things to do when you're not working on set or at the restaurant?
Yeah, well, I love to golf, and one of the good things out here is there's also Pachango Casino out here, which is like one of the nicest Native American casinos in California, if not the nicest, and they have a great golf course. There's also some other, really within 10 minutes, I can go to 6, 7 different golf courses. So I got a good little group that we go out with, and I love doing that out here. Believe it or not, I love to garden. I live
Oh,
on
nice.
one of the perks of Temecula is I live on 12 acres, so I have a big, just about almost a quarter acre of a garden that
Nice.
I grow everything and try to eat
Really?
it all. Yeah, tomatoes
Okay.
and peppers and corn and beans and asparagus. I got a great asparagus patch and all this
Wow.
kind of stuff. So I love the fact that I can kind of when the apocalypse comes, I can feed myself.
That's great. It's always
We
good to be
also have
prepared.
animals. Yeah, we have
Yeah.
alpacas. We have all kinds of crazy animals just because we can. Just when the kids were younger, it was fun to have a bunch of animals. Goats
That
and sheep and a bunch
that's
of
so
chickens, so we get our fresh eggs.
yeah, well, that's great. Hey, does any of this stuff from your garden end up at the restaurant?
It's gonna at the newer restaurant. It probably will. I'd love to take some of my tomatoes, which I'm a big tomato fan. So obviously I can't eat store-bought tomatoes compared to mine. So in the next year and a half, if the new restaurant gets going, that's the kind of place where we would bring in some literally farm to table tomatoes from my garden.
Oh,
So
that's very cool. That's great.
yeah,
And now I know you're a beer guy, but and you've mentioned the wineries in
yeah.
Temecula, the big wine scene. It's really burgeoning. Do you have any favorite wineries in the area?
I like South Coast Winery, which is one of my faves. I also like the fact that they have a decent restaurant there, so we go there a bit. Leoness is another one that's kind of off the beaten track that we like. I try to check out different ones all the time, but those are probably the two that we like the best.
Yeah, what do you like about them?
I think their wines are the best. I mean, we're not Napa, I can tell you that, but we're getting better, and we've gotten better since the 20 years I've been here. The winemaking has been better, and I feel like South Coast is one of the ones that have really. We actually use their wine in our restaurant. They're one of the ones that have really kind of kept up on it, and I just like the taste of their wine. So
Yeah. Cool. So,
yeah,
for someone who's coming to Temecula for the first time, what do you
yeah.
recommend they do? Like, what should they see and do? And say they were coming for a weekend, what would you recommend?
Yeah, I would. Well, I mean, you would probably stay at one of the wineries, one of the hotels that are associated with the wineries. You check in. It's very, very nice. You're out. They have like cabins that are out with the vineyards if you want that kind of thing. You either have dinner there at the winery and for your first night and kind of check it out, and then the next day, you come into Old Town and people, you love to walk up and down the streets. There's antique shops. There's cool little retail places. You have lunch at the Inn Cafe, or dinner or breakfast,
Or all
uh,
three?
or all three. And then at night, there's a really lively, especially on the weekends, there's a very lively nightlife in Temecula. You hear some music, some great music places. And all this is within it. You don't have, you can Uber to Old Town and then have fun and Uber back. And within it, you can do all these different places. There's a good three or four bars and restaurant of 3 or 4 bars alone and many restaurants. And if you really wanted to get the full effect, you end the night at a place called the Stampede, which is the biggest country and western venue in Southern California. And you can line dance and you hear some country music. You have the electric bowl or whatever that is. And it's a very Temecula experience to hang out at the Stampede.
Wow, that's funny. A little nod to the Old West, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of stuff that in Old Town is that there's an old bank that was a restaurant. There's of course the Stampede, and there's just a lot of old kind of things that attach us to the past that are done there. And then on Sunday, you maybe do a little round of golf, and then head for home.
Yeah, that sounds great. It sounds like a great weekend, especially for folks who are maybe visiting LA or San
Yeah,
Diego and they want another experience. It's just so close by and such a nice little
yeah,
different, way to experience California.
yeah, absolutely. And we get a lot of people, of course, even who are from LA and Orange County, because it's such an easy weekend trip, And if you're a gambling type, instead of going all the way to Vegas, you can go to Pachanga and have just a great gambling experience. It's a nice,
Right.
nice hotel, and
Yeah,
they have some nice restaurants there as well.
that sounds great. So,
Yeah.
Dean, whenever we have a special guest such as yourself on the podcast, we ask them to take what we call the California Questionnaire. It's a series of lightning round questions about your
Oh,
favorite
dang.
things about the state. So, are you up for it?
Uh-oh. All right.
Okay, let's go. Let's try it. Okay. So, who or what is your greatest California love?
What? I mean, the weather. Is that an appropriate answer?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, I
yeah.
love
Okay,
the
the weather.
weather. I mean, look, I come from Indiana, man. Trust me, spend a winter in Indiana, northern Indiana, and you'll appreciate the weather.
Absolutely. What's your favorite Golden State splurge?
Oh man, there's a lot of those. We'd love to go to San Diego and spend the night and go to Padres games. I'd love to go to LA, get a nice hotel, have a nice dinner, and sometimes go to the Dodgers game, who I'm a big fan of. Uh, um, Also, quite frankly, we love to go up to San Francisco. So we take that trip quite often just to, check out the city and the beautiful, the ocean and the beautiful ferries and the beautiful bridges. And I think San Francisco is probably our favorite splurge.
That's cool. Okay, now it's time
Yeah.
for a road trip. Where are you going?
I'm going up right this through the center of the state, through the Sequoia National Forest, Yosemite area. What's the one before between those two? Yeah, Yellowstone. No, yeah, Yosemite. And
Yosemite.
go
Yep.
through there. I have a fifth wheel that I tow behind this big old truck I got, and man, there's nothing I like more than just going right up to the north part of the central and northern part of California. Mammoth, Lake Tahoe, all the natural wonders are just beautiful, and most of them are up north. You got the Death Valley down here and some things like that, but the
Hmm.
amazing beauty is just it's. I love it. I'll take that trip anytime somebody wants to come with me. So
Yeah.
we you camp out and in these different places. It's awesome. So.
That's great. That's great. If you could decree an official state culinary experience, what would it be?
Well, I got to be biased on that. Uh, I have to have a barbecue thing in there, but I'm a sushi guy too.
Oh,
It's kind of
interesting.
weird because I love my smoked meats on the one hand,
Yeah.
but I there's nothing. Maybe New York City and a few places, but nobody has sushi as good at the quality as we do. I mean, there's a place on Ventura, but there's like a stretch on Ventura Boulevard in Studio City, which just has like six world class sushi places you can go. I whenever I get into LA, I always eat sushi. In fact, sometimes I'll eat it twice a day. So
Wow.
that's the thing. Even I've heard it's even better than a lot of places in Japan. So that's what I would do. Is it would be a sushi.
Okay, that sounds good. What's your favorite way to play in California?
Well, I love the multiple golf options that we have.
Mhm.
Um, I do like to go to the beach sometimes as well, but the fact that you can you don't have to leave California and you can just play like the best golf courses around, even including like Torrey Pines, which is where I live, um, and smaller ones too. There's amazing golf courses because you can golf year round here.
Hmm.
So I think that's the best. That's what I like to play in California.
Okay. Where would you go for the ultimate shopping spree in California?
Well, that would be in Orange County. It's called South Coast Plaza, and it's this awesome. I hesitate to call it a mall. It's a collection of, but it is. You walk around. It's outside. You can walk around outside, but it's an amazing collection of really cool and high-end stores. And they also have a great couple sushi places in there. So you get all of the best of California. It's outside. You're walking around in sunshine. There's really nice high-end retail that you can buy everything, just like here in New York or Chicago or something like that. And it's pleasant. It's close to the fresh ocean air coming in. And like I said, you can both have a great shopping experience and a good eating experience as well.
What's the best California song?
Ken, I going to California, Led Zeppelin.
Why is that? Why?
I love it just so captures the essence of it, especially because they were British and it was how it must have been more foreign from people from Britain to come out and see the sunshine and the girls with flowers in their hair. Of course, this was written in the early '70s. There's something ding 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 ding, just something about it. It just evokes somehow the way I feel about the wonder of California and what it means to come out here, especially because in the song it's kind of coming to the first time, going to California with an aching in my heart. I can't sing it very well, but it's a great song. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, good answer. Can you share your favorite hidden gem in the state?
Um, Hidden gem. Um, Well, there's so many great ones. Like I said, the great national parks and all that kind of stuff. But if I say hidden gem, I would say Death Valley. If you ever want a crazy experience, or Joshua Tree,
Hmm.
to go out in the desert. Like I never thought of the desert as a destination place. Certainly not coming from Indiana, but if you've lived out here and you've gone to these places, the desert is beautiful and fascinating and crazy. And you have to go to Death Valley kind of in the winter because it's still summer. It's too hot, but it's
Yeah.
like it's like you're in another world. And even then, like going to Joshua Tree, which we love to do, and you kind of stay in a little old hotel, and but it's just so beautiful the scenery and so it's like the desert. It would be my answer is the hidden gem.
Nice. All right, and here's the last one. How would your California dream day unfold?
Oh well, it's the greatest part of California. We could wake up and go to the beach, enjoy some sunshine, And then, where we so inclined, we would take a drive up to Big Bear and do a little skiing. If it's the right time in March or April, you could do both.
All right.
And it's all within an hour and a half. So I also love Big Bear very well. That's another, I guess, I don't know if that's a hidden gem. That's certainly a gem that people probably know. But we
Uh-huh.
love going up there in the winter, skiing and doing that, nice cold lodging and stuff. But we also go up there in the summer because it's great to walk around, Big Bear and the little ice cream shops and kind of float around on the lake and do stuff like that. So it would probably be a combination of those two things: the beach and then a trip to Big Bear and maybe spend the night up there.
Nice. Maybe grab some sushi in between.
Maybe grab some sushi in between.
That's great. Dean, this has been epic. Thank you so much for joining us on California Now.
Thanks, man. It's been real fun.
Dean Norris is an actor and owner of the Inn Cafe and BBQ in Temecula. To learn more about Dean and what he's got going on over at the Swing Inn, visit swingincafe.com. That's swingin, I-N-N, cafe.com. This is California Now.